Hey, good morning, everybody. We've made some progress. We did a little bit of electrical this week. We replaced the horn. Some of that wiring was actually, all of that wiring was actually useful. We haven't tested anything yet, but back to the helm, it seems to be okay. We put in the 2 docking lights, and we're now working on the navigation lights. But today, we started on a little bit yesterday. We're going to be working on the port cylinder head installation onto the block. I spent about 2 hours cleaning out bolt holes using it because it had that Indian head shellac stuff in it. Would not be my first choice. We did have a little issue putting on the starboard head. Didn't read the directions that came with the gasket entirely, and what we didn't do was the 4th torquing sequence that's necessary on that side. We used bolts that came from Felpro, and they already had PTFE resin on them instead of that, shellac or RTV sealant that people use for these through bolts. What I may do is I may pull out each individual bolt, put that resin back on, and then torque it down in 3 individual steps to the required torque setting, which is I think like 66, 64 foot-pounds of torque, something like that. And the part that I missed is you wait 10 minutes and then you go back around and you back off the bolt an 1/8 of a turn, and then you torque it down to the specs. I gather that is to make sure that everything seats correctly. I didn't do that on the port side. I'm going to follow those directions. So up to this point, I've cleaned out all the bolt holes, all 17 of them. We're hopefully going to be able to lift this head up over the back of the boat, put it on without dropping it in there. There's not a lot of room like there is on the starboard side, but I think we should be good. At this point, what I have to do is I have to clean off the deck, the block deck, because it actually is worse than the starboard side. There seems to be some residual pieces, and it looks like there's Loctite on the or something that's stuck to the top of the block. So I'm gonna stop here. May 1st is coming up pretty quickly here, and let's see if we can get this port head on, tighten down, and maybe I'll go on to adjusting the lifters like I'm supposed to, or the rocker arms, I should say. The lifters are hydraulic. Okay, so port side, kind of been through all the bolt holes. Looks like I have one more to go through. They kind of look silver. What I'm doing is I'm using this chase, okay? It's a 7/16 14 chase, right? And I'm taking a little bit of brake cleaner. Let me see if I can do this, okay? I'm spraying the bolt hole. Run my chase through it. The goal of this is to clean out any of that old Indian head shellac. Even if you don't have Indian head shellac, you want to make sure these bolt holes are clean, because this is going to be the clamping surface for everything. What we're trying to do, now clean it off with a microfiber rag, right? Then I'll take the microfiber rag and I'll put it in the bolt hole. I'll kind of just try to get everything out that I possibly can. I'll show you in another bolt hole. It's probably not obstructed by this filter, this oil filter. The idea is to get it back so there's nothing on here, okay? Here's another good one. You want the insides of the bolt holes to look silver. Okay. It's still coming back with stuff, right? So I'll go back through here. takes quite a while, but remember, if you get this wrong, you're going to be doing this again. It's probably something you don't want to be doing again. Okay. I hope you don't have what I have. The other thing I'm also doing is I'm spraying off the chase to clean it. It's kind of really boring, y'all, but right. The more prep you do, the better positioned you'll be. And what I'll do is, before I put the head on, I will blow these bolt holes out with compressed air. And I'll try to do that. You kind of saw me do that on my other video. So you kind of got the idea. One thing I did want to point out is there's some weird etching on this part of the cylinder block deck, right? And then there is you can't really see it because it's probably not visible to the camera. I'll try to get a close-up of this, but there's a raised section of the deck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my roll-lock wheel and I'm going to go across here. I'm not going to get too crazy. The other thing I'm going to do before I put the head back on is before I put the gasket down is I'll go through here, run a little bit of oil in these cylinders because I've hit it with brake clean. There's really, not a lot of oil that's left on the rings after that. As you can see, it's been cleaning the top of the pistons themselves. So now I'm gonna go get my roll-lock wheel and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, got my roll-lock wheel. I'm gonna use it. You don't press hard, you just let it glide above the surface. Do not sit in one space very long. This is going to be a little bit difficult over here, but it's just remove any contaminants that the brake clean doesn't get. This is remove the old RTV in this area here. I took most of this off with a razor blade. As you can tell, the wheel's taking it off. So it is abrasive, just be aware of that, right? It's not like a Scotch-Brite pad. That also is a choice. You can use a Scotch-Brite pad to do it. I don't think I'm going to be really worried about this. What I am concerned about is whatever happened back here. So, you probably can't see it, but I run my finger across this and it's rough, right? Unlike any part of the other deck, right? And you can tell as I run my finger across it, that's steel. So you want to be careful with this Roloc disc. You want to use it sparingly. I'm just using it to clean up the surfaces, right? You remember me doing this last time. This is a big concern because you can kind of see in this area right here, this is right next to a water jacket, right? And there it is raised up. So it's possible, this was a source of water infiltration into this engine. We've not really found out why there was this much water in the engine. Speculation from the engine guy is that somebody just dumped a bunch of water into this engine somehow. I don't really buy that, but we can't find any cracks in the lifter valley. According to him, there's not enough rust to assume it's been in here a while. I don't know what to make of that, but I'm gonna go through and just finish cleaning this deck off. So I'll be back. Okay, so cleaned up the deck. Now I'm putting some oil in the cylinders. Just using this Mobile 1300 15W40. I'm gonna clean these off. I'm gonna put these in there. This is just to lubricate the cylinders at startup. I've washed the deck with a bunch of brake clean. So I do not need to add to my problems of anything that might go on in these cylinders at dry startup. Shouldn't really be dry, but better be safe than sorry. Now, we will take our brake clean, go at the top of the cylinders, the block deck. Okay. Probably should use the microfiber towel for this. You want to do this, the towel comes back not that color. Okay, so we'll take another section here. We're apparently good up to the second one in. Let's do it again. Still getting stuff back. What I may be getting is the wash from the piston. So let's see. It's kind of in a tight space here. A little bit more. That's a really tough space. I should have taken off that bracket, but I didn't. This is connected to a bunch of crap I don't want to deal with right now. Okay.